In the cold darkness of space, a fleet of alien warships moved slowly toward the edge of the galaxy. Their silver hulls reflected the light of dying stars. The ships belonged to the Zarnok Empire, a proud and powerful civilization that ruled over hundreds of worlds. For centuries they had conquered and expanded, crushing weaker species and taking their planets. But there was one place even they feared to enter. That place was human space. The border of human space was silent, dark, and empty. No signals, no colonies, no trade routes, just an endless black zone. It was said that long ago humans had fought a great war, and then disappeared behind that border, never to be seen again. No one knew what happened to them. Some said humans destroyed themselves. Others believed they still existed, hidden and waiting, but the truth had never been proven. And for the Zarnok commander, General Theros, myths were for children. Theros stood on the bridge of his flagship, Zarnok's Wrath, looking out at the quiet stars. His face was calm, his voice steady. Humans are gone, he said. Their empire is dust. Today we claim their space for the Zarnok. His crew cheered. 7 warships formed a perfect line and entered the forbidden zone. The scanners showed nothing unusual. No movement, no energy readings, no communication. It was completely dead. The silence felt endless. At first, the crew relaxed. Some laughed, mocking the old stories. The young officers whispered that humans must have been weak, that they destroyed each other long ago. But the older soldiers stayed quiet. They felt something different in that silence. Something heavy. After an hour of travel, the fleet passed through a strange mist, thin clouds of silver dust that moved slowly like fog. It wasn't on any map. The radar flickered for a few seconds, then stabilized. "Commander, we're losing signal strength," said the communication officer. "Recalibrate the sensors," Theros ordered calmly. "It's just interference." The ships continued forward, but deep inside the mist, the readings began to change. Weak energy signatures appeared and vanished quickly, too fast to track. The engineer frowned. "Sir, I'm detecting movement, but I can't lock on it. It's like something is there, but it doesn't exist." Theros looked out into the black void. "Probably debris," he said. "Ignore it." Another hour passed. Then suddenly, one of the ships, Vortex 9, vanished from the radar. The communication officer turned pale. "Sir, Ship 9 is gone." "What do you mean gone?" Theros demanded. "It's not responding. No explosion, no signal, no trace. It just disappeared." The bridge fell silent. Everyone stared at the screen. Then a faint transmission broke through the static, a voice whispering in an unknown language. The sound was low, mechanical, almost human. The signal lasted only 3 seconds before cutting off. Theros clenched his fists. "All ships form battle formation. Scan every direction." The fleet spread out carefully. Their weapons powered up, scanning the void. But nothing appeared. The mist was still. The stars did not move. Then the lights flickered across the control panels. Every system glitched at once. Alarms began to scream. The engineer shouted, "Energy surge detected. It's coming from above us." The bridge crew looked up through the view window. Far above, 3 blue lights floated silently in the darkness. At first, they thought it was a small drone. Then the lights multiplied. 3 became 10, 10 became 50, until hundreds of glowing orbs surrounded the fleet. Each orb pulsed with cold blue energy. They moved slowly, almost like they were watching. The weapons officer panicked. "Should we fire?" Theros raised his hand. "Hold fire. Let's see what they do." For a moment, nothing happened. Then every light blinked at once, and the nearest Zarnok ship exploded. The blast was silent in space, but the shockwave threw debris across the formation. The bridge lights dimmed. Screams filled the air. Theros gritted his teeth. "All ships return fire." Dozens of plasma cannons lit up the void, firing into the mist. But every shot missed. The blue orbs moved faster than any sensor could track. Within seconds, they were behind the fleet. The ships tried to turn, but their engines failed. Systems began shutting down one by one. Weapons, shields, even oxygen. The AI on the ship started speaking in a cold, monotone voice. "Warning, external interference detected. Unknown technology override." The lights on the bridge flickered again. Then for the first time they heard something else. A human voice. Deep and calm. "You have crossed the border." The sound echoed through every ship, even though no communication channel was open. Theros froze. "Who is this?" There was no reply. Only silence. Then the voice spoke again, softer this time. No one returns. The orbs moved closer. The crew screamed. Static filled every screen. One by one, the ships vanished, swallowed by the darkness. Hours later, the border was quiet again. No signals. No movement. No wreckage. The mist drifted slowly, untouched. Far away on a human listening post hidden inside an asteroid, a single soldier watched the entire event through a holographic screen. He leaned back in his chair and sighed. They never learn, he said softly. They always think we're gone. He pressed a button and the blue lights faded from his display. The human defense network powered down. The silence returned, cold and complete. In the records of the galaxy, the Zarnok fleet was marked as missing. No distress calls, no survivors, no debris, only legends. And somewhere, deep inside the endless dark of human space, the humans continued to watch. They were not gone. They were waiting. Far across the galaxy, deep inside the shining towers of Zarnok Prime, the capital of the Zarnok Empire, alarms began to sound. Inside the galactic command hall, hundreds of screens blinked red. All contact with General Theros and his fleet had been lost. No signal, no beacon, no trace of energy. For the Zarnok, this was impossible. Their technology was among the most advanced in the galaxy. Every ship carried layers of tracking devices and emergency transmitters. Even in the middle of a supernova, a signal could survive for at least a few seconds. But this time, there was nothing. Total silence. Admiral Corrin, head of the High Defense Council, stood before the holographic map of human space. His face was pale, his voice low. 7 warships. 700 souls gone, in one breath. Around him, the council members whispered in disbelief. Some blamed a natural phenomenon, a black hole, maybe a solar storm. But others, the older ones who still remembered the ancient war, exchanged fearful looks. An old general finally spoke. "It's the humans," he said. "They're still out there." The younger commanders laughed nervously. "That's just an old story. Humans wiped themselves out long ago." The old general didn't smile. "I fought them once," he said quietly. "You never forget their eyes. They don't fight for power or glory. They fight to end you." His words hung heavy in the air. Admiral Corrin slammed his fist on the table. "Enough. We will find the truth. Prepare Recon Fleet Delta. They will enter human space and locate Theros' ships." The council fell silent. Everyone knew what that meant, sending another fleet into the same void that had swallowed the first. But no one dared to argue. Orders were orders. 3 days later, a new fleet, smaller, faster, equipped with the most advanced stealth systems, arrived at the border of human space. The commander of the fleet, Captain Vekran, was young, confident, and ambitious. He didn't believe in old legends. He wanted to make history by proving that humans were nothing but ghosts from a forgotten war. "Activate scanners," he ordered. The ship's AI replied in a calm tone. "Scanning. No life signs detected, no debris, no signals." Vekran leaned back. "Just as I thought. Theros probably entered a gravity field and lost control. Prepare to go deeper." As the fleet advanced, the stars behind them began to fade. It was as if the light itself was being swallowed by the blackness ahead. Inside the command room, officers worked in silence. The atmosphere felt heavy. Even the hum of the engines sounded quieter. Then one of the technicians spoke. "Sir, I'm detecting a faint energy pulse." "Show it." The screen flickered, showing a weak signal, repeating in a steady pattern. Vekran frowned. "It looks like a distress beacon. Origin, Zarnok's Wrath, flagship of General Theros." The crew gasped. Vekran smiled slightly. "See, he's alive. Plot the course. We're going in." The fleet moved toward the signal. The pulse grew stronger, but with every kilometer, more strange readings appeared. Static, interference, magnetic distortion. The AI struggled to keep up. "Warning. External disruption detected," it said. Then, just like before, the mist appeared. The same silver dust swirling slowly, surrounding them like a living cloud. "Engines stable?" Vekran asked. "Stable, sir." "Good, keep going." Minutes passed. The beacon signal became loud and clear. It was definitely Theros' ship. "But something was wrong, sir." The technician's voice trembled. "The beacon is repeating the same phrase over and over. It's not a normal distress code." "What does it say?" Vekran asked. The technician hesitated. Then softly he said, "It says, turn back." The room went cold. Vekran forced a laugh. "Clever trick. Someone's trying to scare us." But before anyone could answer, the lights dimmed. The AI's voice changed, distorted and deep. Unauthorized access detected. "Source?" Vekran shouted. The AI replied, "Internal system override. Human encryption detected." The crew stared at each other in shock. Human encryption hadn't been seen for over a century. No one even knew how to decode it anymore. The AI continued, its tone now colder, almost human. "You should not be here." Then the radar flashed red. Dozens of unknown signals appeared all around them. "Ships?" Vekran asked. The officer shook his head. "No, they're too small." "Maybe drones?" A voice echoed through every speaker, calm, deep, and unmistakably human. "You came looking for your friends. You found us instead." The bridge lights flickered again. The AI went silent. Outside the window, blue orbs began to form in the mist, hundreds of them moving in perfect formation. "Open fire!" Vekran shouted. The cannons roared, lighting up the dark. But every shot vanished into the mist like smoke. Then the orbs moved. They weren't attacking. They were scanning. The orbs surrounded the lead ship, scanning every surface, every signal. And then the engines stopped. One by one, every Zarnok ship lost power. "Reboot," Vekran screamed. The engineer shouted back, "It's no use." "They've taken control of everything," the human voice returned, soft but terrifying. "Do not return. Tell them we are still here." Then everything went white. When Vekran opened his eyes, he was lying on the floor of his ship. The lights were off. The screens were dark. The air was still. The rest of the crew was gone. He stumbled to the window and froze. Outside there were no stars, only endless black. He reached for the comm switch, whispering, "This is Captain Vekran. If anyone can hear me, don't come here." Static answered him. Far away, on a human monitoring station, an officer turned off the screen. "That's the Second Fleet," he said quietly. "They never learn." The commander beside him nodded. "Should we erase the evidence?" "Yes, let the galaxy think it was another accident." The officer smiled slightly. "You think they'll ever stop trying?" The commander looked out at the stars. "No," he said. "But soon they'll understand." And once again human space returned to silence, calm, endless, and waiting. In the dark stillness of the asteroid belt near Mars, a hidden human outpost came alive with red lights. Long silver towers rose from the surface, covered by dust and shadows. The base was silent for centuries, but now, deep underground, ancient systems were waking up. Inside the command chamber, glowing holographic screens filled the room. They showed the last transmissions from the Zarnok fleet, the static, the panic, the blue lights. A young officer named Lieutenant Sarah Vale watched quietly. She was part of the Human Defense Network, a system that had been asleep for over 200 years. She turned to her superior, Commander Ryan Holt, a tall man with gray eyes and a calm face. "Sir, that's the second alien fleet this month. Should we respond?" Holt didn't answer immediately. He stared at the flickering screen where the last image showed Zarnok ships vanishing into the mist. Then he said softly, "No, not yet. They still haven't learned." Sarah frowned. "But sir, if they keep sending ships, they'll eventually find—" Holt interrupted. "Find what? Ghosts? Legends? Let them keep guessing." He stood up and walked to the massive window overlooking space. The view was beautiful and endless. Planets like small marbles in the distance, the sun casting golden light across the rocks. "It's been 3 centuries since the human exodus," he said quietly. "They thought we destroyed ourselves. They thought we disappeared. Let them believe it a little longer." Sarah looked at him curiously. "Sir, are the stories true? Did humans really fight the whole galaxy once?" Holt smiled faintly. "You've read the old records. You know what happened. They tried to erase us, and we made sure they'd never try again." He pressed a button on the console. A hologram appeared. Maps of the galaxy, hundreds of red zones marking the borders of human space. "They call this area the Dead Zone," Holt said. "But to us, it's home." Sarah looked at the screens again. "What about the captured ships? Recovered, Holt replied. Their technology has been integrated. Their crews, released. Released? She asked. He turned toward her, his expression unreadable. Let's just say they won't remember anything. Far away in another part of the galaxy, panic spread through the Zarnok Empire. 2 fleets gone, not a single survivor. The Council was desperate. Messages flew between star systems. Some believed humans were ghosts. Others feared they were gods. Admiral Corrin sat in silence in his dark chamber. Before him floated a projection of Tharos's last transmission, the whisper of a human voice saying, "You have crossed the border." Corrin's claws trembled slightly. He had fought hundreds of wars, seen planets burn, but nothing chilled him like that voice. He finally spoke to his aide. "Prepare a transmission to the Galactic Union. If the humans are truly back, everyone must know." But before the message could be sent, the lights in the chamber flickered. The communication lines went dead. The hologram dissolved. "What's happening?" the aide shouted. Corrin looked up and froze. On the large central screen, a new message appeared, written in old human code. "This is your only warning. Stay away." The message repeated 3 times, then vanished. Corrin felt cold sweat on his forehead. "Cut the signal. Don't trace it. Don't reply." The aide hesitated. "Sir, what if they want peace?" Corrin turned to him sharply. "Peace. The humans never ask. They decide." Back in the human base near Mars, Commander Holt was watching the message transmission on another screen. He smiled faintly. "They received it." Sarah turned toward him. "So it's true, sir? You're letting them know we're alive?" Holt shook his head. "Not alive, Lieutenant, just awake." He walked to the main control console, placed his hand on a glass pad, and entered a code that hadn't been used in 200 years. The system lights glowed blue. A calm voice echoed through the base. Protocol Black Horizon activated. All across human space, deep within abandoned colonies and empty moons, thousands of satellites came online. Silent drones began to move. Hidden stations powered up. Massive ships, buried under ice and dust, hummed as their engines came alive again. Sarah watched in awe. "Sir, are we going to war?" Holt looked at her. "No, Lieutenant. We're reminding them why they stopped fighting us." She swallowed hard. "Do we still have command authority from Earth?" Holt's eyes darkened. "There is no Earth. There's only the network now." For a long time, the room was silent except for the soft hum of machinery. The screens showed thousands of signals spreading across the galaxy like veins of light. Sarah whispered, "If we are so strong, why hide?" Holt smiled sadly. "Because strength isn't about destroying others. It's about knowing when not to." Hours later, deep in the cold void near the Zarnok border, one of the defense satellites detected a new alien probe. It was small, unarmed, clearly sent for research. The human AI watched quietly as the probe floated closer. The probe's signal translated to one simple question. "Who are you?" The AI paused for a moment. Then, in perfect Zarnok language, it replied, "We are what comes after fear." The probe exploded seconds later, its memory erased. Back at the Mars base, the message log recorded the event automatically. Sarah looked at it and said softly, "They'll never stop trying, will they?" Holt sighed. "No, curiosity is the most dangerous thing in the galaxy." He turned off the monitor and looked at the empty stars. "They think we vanished," he said. "But the truth is simpler. We just got tired of being the monsters they made us." He closed his eyes for a moment, remembering something. Perhaps the war. Perhaps the day Earth fell. Then he whispered almost to himself, "Let them remember the silence. It's safer that way." The base lights dimmed again as the defense systems powered down. The screens went dark. Somewhere beyond the border, in the deep black of human space, ancient machines kept watch, silent and patient, like hunters waiting for prey. And once again the galaxy turned, unaware that the most dangerous species it had ever known was still here, watching, waiting. In the far distance of the galaxy, quiet signals moved through the blackness like whispers. Every few hours, a strange coded pulse spread outward from the edge of human space, too weak for most sensors to notice. It was not a call for help. It was a warning, a reminder that something alive still guarded the border. On Zarnok Prime, fear had turned into anger. The High Council wanted answers. 2 fleets gone, no remains, no debris, no proof. Their pride could not accept defeat from an invisible enemy. So they decided to send one last mission. Not soldiers this time, but scientists and observers. They called it Operation Truth. The mission was led by Dr. Sarah Vell, the Empire's best astrophysicist. She did not believe in monsters or myths. She believed in data. Her ship, the Insight, carried a team of researchers, drones, and powerful scanners. "We will observe only," she said before departure. "No weapons, no threats. Knowledge is our protection." As the Insight approached the border, Sarah watched the endless black ahead. "Strange," she murmured. "No radiation, no signals, nothing." Her assistant replied, "It feels like space is asleep." When the ship crossed the invisible line, the stars behind them dimmed, as if a curtain had closed. The temperature dropped. The instruments began to fail one by one. Sarah frowned. Magnetic interference. "Adjust power flow." But before the engineer could answer, the lights flickered. The computer screens filled with static. Then, through the static, a single message appeared. "Welcome back." The crew froze. "Who sent that?" Sarah demanded. "No source detected," said the technician. "The signal is coming from inside our ship." A low hum began to rise, deep and mechanical. The hull trembled softly, as though something was crawling across it. Drones launched automatically to scan the area. Their cameras showed nothing at first. Then a shape moved. Fast, metallic, reflective like liquid steel. "It's following us," whispered one of the crew. Suddenly the feed cut off. All drones went silent at once. Then from the main screen a human face appeared. Pale, calm, emotionless. "Identify yourself," Sarah said firmly. The face looked straight at her. "This region is restricted. Turn back." Sarah tried to respond, but the comm systems were locked. The AI controlling the ship reported, "Unknown network intrusion. Defense protocols offline." The human voice spoke again, softer this time. "You came seeking truth. Let us show you." The stars vanished. Every window turned black. For a moment the crew saw nothing, only darkness. Then slowly images began to form around them, projected directly into their minds. They saw cities on fire, alien armadas breaking apart, planets falling silent. They saw humans, millions of them, fighting not for conquest but for survival. The last war of humanity, the one the galaxy had forgotten, was playing before their eyes. The humans had been outnumbered, surrounded by empires that feared their growing power. When diplomacy failed, the galaxy attacked. Entire fleets united to erase Earth from existence. And yet, humanity did not die. They adapted. They vanished into the void and built something stronger, an invisible network of machines, guardians that could think, watch, and wait. The images faded. Sarah trembled. This is impossible." The human voice replied, "You wanted truth. You have it." The screens brightened again, showing the stars outside. But now there were ships, massive dark shapes emerging from the mist. They were silent and without insignia, shaped like black blades cutting through space. No engines were visible, no light escaped their hulls. Sarah whispered, "How many?" The sensor officer answered in a shaky voice. "At least 100. Maybe more," the human voice continued, calm as ever. "We don't seek war. We only protect our borders. Every time your kind crosses it, we remember." One of the younger scientists stepped forward, shouting, "You can't hide forever. The galaxy deserves to know what you've done." For the first time, the human voice sounded almost sad. "You still believe you control this galaxy." The human ships began to move. They surrounded the Insight like shadows, forming a perfect circle. No weapons were fired. A soft blue light spread over the alien ship. The crew felt their memories blur. One by one, they collapsed to the floor. When Sarah opened her eyes, she was lying in a hospital on Zarnok Prime. Her head ached. Officials surrounded her bed, asking questions. "What happened? What did you see?" She tried to remember. The face, the ships, the voice. but it was fading like a dream. She managed only a few words. "They're still here. Watching." Her report was brief and confusing. The data drives from the InSight were empty. Every recording was gone, every file wiped clean. The council dismissed her as traumatized, and the mission was quietly erased from history. But Sarah couldn't forget the final thing she heard before losing consciousness, the voice whispering in her ear. "Now you know why no one returns." Weeks later, late at night, Sarah sat alone in her apartment. Staring at the stars, she noticed something strange. In the northern sky, 3 stars blinked in perfect rhythm, slow, deliberate, repeating. She recorded the pattern and analyzed it. It wasn't random. It was a message. Translated into Zarnok language, it said, "Do not enter." Her hands trembled. She looked out again, whispering, "They're sending warnings, not attacks." Far beyond her sight, in the quiet expanse of human space, Commander Holt stood on the observation deck of his hidden base. The stars reflected in his eyes. "The message has been delivered," he said softly. His second-in-command asked, "You think they'll listen this time?" Holt smiled faintly. "They will. Fear is the most honest teacher." The room grew silent as the defense network powered down once more. The humans returned to their waiting, patient, unseen, and untouchable. And so, another alien mission disappeared into legend. The galaxy called it the vanishing of the InSight. Only Sarah Vell knew the truth, that beyond the quiet border lay not ghosts, but guardians, human and eternal. They didn't seek revenge. They protected the silence. Dr. Sarah Vell could no longer sleep peacefully. Every night the same dream haunted her, a voice echoing from the dark. "Do not enter. Do not test the silence." She had stopped trying to convince others of what she saw. The Zarnok Council labeled her unstable, claiming her mind had been damaged by radiation. Her research license was revoked, her access to space data removed. But deep inside, Sarah knew what she saw was real. The humans were still out there, unseen, untouchable, and waiting. Weeks turned into months. Then one night the same pattern of blinking stars appeared again. This time not only Sarah saw it. Hundreds of observatories across different planets detected the same rhythmic pulse. 3 long blinks, 2 short, then 1 long. It was not a random signal. It was a warning. The Galactic Council, a meeting of 50 alien empires, gathered in the Grand Chamber on the planet Arketra. Holograms of each species flickered in the air, their leaders discussing the strange event. "The signal originated from the edge of human space," said the communications officer from the Dral Dominion. "Exactly the same coordinates where the Zarnok fleets disappeared." Gasps filled the room. The humans had been silent for nearly 2 centuries. Most believed they were extinct. Some said they had destroyed themselves in their wars. Others whispered that they had ascended, leaving physical reality behind. Now the signal changed everything. An old reptilian leader leaned forward. "We should send a peace envoy," he hissed. "If the humans live, perhaps they can be reasoned with." But the Dral general pounded his clawed fist. "Peace? They murdered our explorers. They destroyed our ships without cause. We will enter their space again, this time with force." The room broke into argument. Half wanted diplomacy, half wanted revenge. Only one voice stayed silent, a young ambassador from the small planet of Tanara. She finally spoke softly. "The humans warned you not to cross. Why not listen?" No one answered. Pride was stronger than fear. Days later, a fleet from the Dral Dominion departed from their homeworld. 25 heavy warships carrying over 100,000 soldiers. Their mission was to enter human space, locate the hidden bases, and capture whatever remained. They called it Operation Cleansing. On her home planet, Sarah watched the news with dread. "They're making the same mistake," she whispered. She sent dozens of messages to the Dral command, warning them of what she saw. Every message was ignored. As the Dral fleet approached the human border, the same darkness awaited them, silent, cold, and endless. They laughed at the stories of invisible ships and ghostly voices. "Humans are extinct," said their admiral proudly. "The only thing waiting for us is dust." When they crossed the border, their laughter stopped. Every star behind them vanished. The space around them turned gray, like fog swallowing light. Their sensors failed instantly. Communications jammed. Then a voice came through the static. Not loud, not angry, and just calm. "You were warned," the Admiral shouted. "Identify yourself!" "You trespass where no one belongs." Suddenly, thousands of blue points of light appeared ahead. They weren't stars. They were machines, small, sleek, and perfectly still. They floated like raindrops frozen in air. The Draal fired first. Plasma cannons roared, cutting through the silence. But the beams never reached the targets. They curved away, absorbed by some invisible field. Then the lights moved. Not forward, not back, but everywhere at once. In less than 30 seconds, every Draal ship lost control. Engines shut down. Weapons failed. The fleet's systems went dark one by one until only emergency lights remained. Through the fog, a single massive human vessel appeared. Black, smooth, its surface flowing like glass. It was bigger than a city. A symbol shone faintly on its hull. An old Earth flag, half burned, half forgotten. Inside the Draal flagship, silence filled the bridge. The Admiral stared at the floating ship. "What do you want from us?" he said weakly. "Nothing," the voice answered. "We only want peace." "Then why destroy us?" "Because you wouldn't stop coming." The Admiral fell to his knees. "Please, we'll leave." "You already have." At that moment, the Draal fleet simply vanished. No explosion, no wreckage, only empty space remained, as if they had never existed. Back on Arketra, chaos broke out. Transmission from the fleet had stopped completely. Every attempt to contact them failed. In the Galactic Council, fear spread faster than truth. Some claimed the humans used black holes as weapons. Others believed it was divine punishment. Dr. Sarah Vell, still under house arrest, received a coded message from an unknown source. It was short, only 4 words. "We did not attack." Her hands trembled. She decoded the origin. It came from inside human space. She sent a reply. Then what happened to the fleet? For a full day there was silence. Then another message appeared. "They were moved," Sarah frowned. "Moved where?" she whispered. The final message came through moments later. "Somewhere safe, or until they learn." She leaned back in shock. The humans hadn't killed the Draal. They had taken them, somewhere no one could find. On the hidden human command base, Commander Holt watched the galactic transmissions. The alien news networks were in panic. Some demanded answers, others begged for mercy. His second-in-command asked quietly, "Was it necessary?" Holt nodded slowly. "Fear keeps them away. Fear saves lives, theirs and ours." The officer sighed. "And if they try again?" Holt looked out at the silent void, his eyes calm but sad. "Then we'll remind them again." He turned toward the star map showing hundreds of invisible defense stations hidden in human space. A ghost network stretching across light years. One light blinked red. Another ship had crossed the line. Holt whispered, "They never learn." Back on her planet, Sarah stared once more at the stars. She now understood what the humans were doing. They weren't monsters. They were guardians protecting the border not out of hate but necessity. And she also knew one terrifying truth. If the galaxy didn't stop trying to invade, one day, the humans wouldn't just defend, they would respond. Silence had returned to the edge of human space. For weeks, no new ships crossed the line. No new fleets vanished. The stars around the border pulsed faintly as if alive, as if watching. The Galactic Council was in chaos. The Draal fleet had disappeared without a trace. Entire families demanded answers. Rumors spread faster than truth. Humans had built planet-sized weapons. Humans had become energy beings. Humans had turned into machines. But only one person truly knew what might be real, Dr. Sarah Vell. She had become a voice few wanted to hear. The council dismissed her warnings, calling her stories psychological fiction. Yet behind closed doors, they feared her words were true. Every empire began secretly building defenses, new weapons, new shields. They prepared for war, a war against an enemy no one had seen in centuries. Then, one night, the stars themselves changed. Every communications array in the galaxy activated at once. Across hundreds of planets, from frozen moons to glittering capitals, the same message appeared on every screen, every terminal, every broadcast frequency. It wasn't text. It wasn't sound. It was an image, and simple and unmistakable, a human face. calm, expressionless, eyes like cold fire. "This is Commander Holt of the Human Federation," the voice said. "You have crossed our borders. You have ignored our warnings. You have tested our silence. This is your final notice." Millions across the galaxy stopped whatever they were doing. The message continued, steady and controlled. Not a threat, not an attack, but a statement of power. "We are not your enemies, but we will not be your victims. Humanity fought your wars. We survived your purges. We adapted while you grew comfortable, and now we watch." The message paused for a few seconds, just enough for everyone to feel the weight of the words. "The Drow fleet is alive. They are safe. They are being taught the truth you all chose to forget. When they return, listen to them." Then the screen flickered. The human face leaned closer, and the eyes seemed to look straight through every listener in every world. "This galaxy is vast. There is room for all. But peace only exists when boundaries are respected. Step beyond ours again, and there will be no border left to return from." The signal ended. The screens went dark. For a full minute, the galaxy was silent. Then panic erupted. Some empires immediately prepared their armies. Others begged for peace. But a wise few, began to understand. Humanity wasn't trying to conquer. They were trying to protect something far greater than territory. On Tanara, the young ambassador who had once spoken for peace searched for Dr. Sierra Vell. She found her sitting by the ocean, staring at the stars. "They finally spoke," the ambassador said softly. Sarah nodded. "Yes, and they didn't destroy anyone. That means there's still hope." The ambassador sat beside her. "You think they'll ever return?" Sarah smiled faintly. "They never left. We just stopped seeing them." She looked up. The night sky shimmered, and for a brief moment, she thought she saw patterns between the stars, geometric lines faint and precise, like a web made of light. "They're building something," she whispered. Far beyond that peaceful world, in the heart of human space, Commander Holt stood in the command deck of the Aegis, a massive station hidden within a dead star. Thousands of human officers worked silently around him. The second in command approached. "Sir, the message was transmitted to every major empire. Reactions are mixed. Fear, denial, some talk of peace." Holt nodded slowly. "Good, fear keeps them still. Peace might keep them alive." The officer hesitated. "And the Drow prisoners?" Holt turned toward a window showing a cluster of glowing spheres, each containing an artificial environment, each holding part of the captured fleet. "They'll be released soon," he said. "They'll remember everything we showed them. Won't they warn the others?" "They'll try. But they'll also understand. We didn't destroy them. We showed them what happens when pride blinds reason." The officer sighed. "And if the others don't listen?" Holt looked out at the endless dark. "Then the silence will speak again." Days later, the Drow ships reappeared at their homeworld. They were intact, undamaged, but different. The crews were silent. Their eyes looked distant, haunted. When the Drow Emperor demanded an explanation, his admiral knelt before him and said only one sentence. "We saw them." "What did you see?" the Emperor asked. The admiral looked up, tears in his eyes. "We saw the end of war. After that day, the Drow withdrew all fleets from human space. They erased their attack plans. They didn't speak of it again." Other empires noticed. Slowly, quietly, the galaxy began to change. Borders were respected again. Patrols stopped near the human frontier. For the first time in generations, peace began to feel possible. But humanity didn't reappear. They didn't demand tribute, didn't invade, didn't claim glory. They watched, always watching. 1 year later, Dr. Sarah Vell received a small metal cube on her doorstep. No name, no sender, just the symbol of an old Earth flag carved into its side. When she touched it, a hologram appeared, Commander Holt's calm face. "You were the first to believe. For that, thank you." Behind him, the stars shimmered, revealing vast human structures hidden within black space, cities made of light, ships the size of moons, and machines silently orbiting dying suns. "We will not stay hidden forever," Holt continued. "But the galaxy must learn peace before we return. When that day comes, humanity will not bring war. We will bring order." The message ended. The cube dimmed and dissolved into dust. Sarah looked up at the night sky once more. The stars blinked 3 times, long, short, long, the same rhythm as before. She smiled. "They're still out there." And somewhere in the cold distance of space, Commander Holt stood before a massive window overlooking the Milky Way. "We vanished to save them," he said quietly. "Now we wait until they're ready." His second-in-command turned to him. "And if they never are?" Holt's gaze hardened. The reflection of Earth's old flag glowed faintly on the glass. "Then we remind them what it means to be human." The stars outside pulsed once more, bright, alive, eternal. And across the galaxy, every intelligent species understood the same truth at last. The silence of human space was not emptiness. It was a warning, and it was watching.